All right, let's just jump right into a wild one. What would happen if you took the most advanced warrior on Earth and dropped him smack in the middle of the deadliest arena of the ancient world? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to explore. A lone Navy SEAL in the Roman Colosseum.
So, could he actually do it? Could one modern soldier really conquer the Roman Colosseum? We're about to dive into this incredible what-if, and you'll see just what happens when cutting-edge military science goes head-to-head with the raw, unfiltered brutality of the ancient world. Okay, so let's set the stage. On one side, you've got a warrior who is, for all intents and purposes, a complete walking weapons system. And on the other side, you've got the Colosseum itself, a place where, let's be honest, survival isn't just unexpected, it's actually bad for business.
All right, Section 1, a warrior out of time. Our story kicks off just like the Roman games always did, with the morning beast hunt. You know, a big spectacle designed to get the crowd fired up with some exotic predators. So, right out of the gate, the SEAL's first challenge isn't even human. Nope, it's two massive African lions. We're talking apex predators, deliberately starved and agitated to make them as aggressive as possible. Now, for a Roman hunter, this would have been a terrifying test of bravery and sheer luck. But for our SEAL, this is just a physics problem.
And he's not about to wait for them to get close. He immediately drops to a knee, gets a stable firing position, and engages from a distance. You know, well outside the lethal range of teeth and claws. See, he isn't relying on timing or luck. He's relying on a 5.56mm round, a tiny piece of metal traveling at nearly 3 times the speed of sound, a projectile that creates an absolutely devastating shockwave through living tissue.
5. That's it. That's how many rounds it takes. Can you imagine the sound, the impossibly loud crack of that rifle echoing through an arena that has never heard anything like it? He puts a controlled pair into the first lion, and it just collapses mid-stride. 3 more for the second. The whole thing is over in a matter of seconds. And all 65,000 spectators? They're stunned into absolute, complete silence.
So, this first victory, it's almost shockingly easy. It's a massive testament to his overwhelming technological advantage. But, and this is a huge but, every single one of those shots he just fired is a resource he can never get back in this world. And this right here, this perfectly illustrates the core of his problem. Look at the numbers. His advantage is absolutely immense, but it's also finite. He's down to 205 rounds. Sure, he's uninjured for now, but the clock is already ticking on his supplies.
Okay, Section 2, escalating human threats. The beasts are down, but now the stakes get higher. The midday executions are starting, and that means we're about to see the first human-on-human combat of the day.
Now, facing 10 men, even if they're untrained, is a totally different kind of challenge. For a soldier like him, getting surrounded is a critical failure you just can't allow. So what does he do? He immediately falls back on his training, using modern tactics. He backs up against the arena wall to funnel them, to control the angles. He's not just spraying and praying either. Every shot is deliberate, aimed. And their wooden shields might as well be paper. These rounds don't just punch through, they absolutely shatter the wood on impact.
So, let's look at the cost. That little engagement took 25 rounds. That's 5 times what it cost him to take down 2 lions. Yeah, he's still physically unharmed, but now something else is kicking in. The crushing Roman sun. And that heat-trapping ballistic armor he's wearing, it's really starting to take a serious toll.
And then the afternoon comes, and with it, the main event, the Moonareia. This is where things get really interesting, because now the SEAL's advantages start to narrow. He's not fighting terrified prisoners anymore. Oh no. Now he's up against professional, disciplined fighters who actually know how to fight as a team.
He's faced with 3 armored gladiators, and they're smart. They're spreading out, trying to flank him. He has to make a crucial choice, right here, right now. He knows he can't afford a long firefight. It would just chew through his ammo. So, he unleashes something that to them must seem like pure black magic, a controlled explosion. I mean, the psychological impact of a grenade would be just as devastating as the actual physical shrapnel. And yeah, the result is devastatingly effective. But it absolutely comes at a cost. The concussive blast from his own grenade disorients him, and flying chunks of stone actually cause his first real injuries of the day. You can see his energy is dropping, and that ammo count just keeps on dwindling.
All right, Section 3, the unwinnable war. This is where it gets really, really interesting, because we see the Romans adapt. The organizers of the games, they see that sending in ones and twos isn't working, so they change the game entirely. They escalate from a spectacle to organized warfare.
This is no longer a duel. It is war. Think about that. A formation of actual Roman legionaries and archers marches onto the sand. The entire nature of this fight just changed completely. Our seal is no longer the hunter. Now, he's the hunted. And make no mistake, this is a coordinated military unit. Their huge, overlapping shields, the scutum, they're literally designed to stop projectiles. Their heavy javelins, the pila, are made to punch through armor. For the very first time today, the seal is facing an enemy that actually has a tactical answer to his technology.
He has to open up, using rapid fire to try and break their shield wall, trying to force them to move, but as they maneuver, so do the archers. They're repositioning. And then it happens. An arrow finds a tiny gap in his armor and slices deep into his thigh. He has to apply a tourniquet immediately. It saves his life, for sure, but his mobility is now severely impaired. Somehow, he survives the onslaught. But just look at the cost. It's catastrophic. He is down to his last 50 rifle rounds. He's wounded, he's exhausted, he's losing blood. That overwhelming advantage he started the day with, it is pretty much vanished.
So, that brings us to Section 4, when technology fails. And this is really the crucial point of the whole scenario, isn't it? What happens when that incredible technological advantage finally runs out? What happens when the warrior is left with nothing but his training and his will to survive?
And what we see is this rapid, almost desperate countdown. He burns through those last rifle rounds, and the rifle is now just dead weight. It gets discarded. He switches to his sidearm, but a pistol is a close-range weapon. It forces him right into the thick of the fight. And when both of those pistol magazines run dry, he's left with just a combat knife. The technology gap has officially closed.
You know, he fights on with incredible skill. He's using grappling, leverage, everything he's ever been taught. But his body is failing him. He's slower now. He's weaker from the blood loss. And his opponents, they're fresher. I mean, they've been fighting in this kind of heat their entire lives.
And so, eventually, he's overwhelmed. It's not one single heroic blow from a superior warrior that finally brings him down. No, it's the slow, relentless accumulation of damage. It's fatigue, it's injuries, and it's the sheer crushing, inexhaustible force of numbers.
So in the end, the SEAL's journey here in the Colosseum reveals a pretty hard truth. Technology is an incredible force multiplier, right? It can make one single soldier an entire weapon system. But no system is infinite. Up against a determined enemy that has basically endless numbers to throw at you, even overwhelming technological superiority has a breaking point. A point where even the greatest warrior on Earth can simply be worn down and defeated.